So as is seemingly the case every season, I forgot to do preseason predictions in the off-season episode. So we're going to take a look at that before we get into the rest of this episode, but I should do an introduction. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the OOTP 17 expansion franchise with the Vancouver Canadians, and if I continue on the upload schedule that we have been so far, where it's pretty much only once a month, I'd like to do this more, but I really don't have a whole lot of time so far. Like, I've been doing school. It's even worse than it was before. I wanted to get some more done during my downtime, like during winter break, but I don't really have a whole lot of time. I can only record one of this like once in a while, and it seems like it takes forever to get an actual episode done just because the simulation takes so long. But this will most likely be the last episode of this in OOTP 17. OOTP 18 comes out at the end of March, and I'm recording this on February 10th, but it will probably be out either late February or beginning of March because I still have to simulate through the first part of the season up to the draft. So we're going to do these preseason predictions first and all the other league reports. So let's just see where we are projected. And we're actually projected to be an 88-win team this season. We're going to, supposedly, this is just according to predictions, finish 7 wins back of the Texas Rangers with a 269 team batting average, 187 home runs, a positive run differential by over 100, so that's a really good sign that the projections think we're going to be pretty good, and almost 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, and a 4.06 ERA, which might not sound impressive, but considering the years we've had in this franchise up to this point, like 4.06 would be a welcome departure. I'm going to lower my mic a little bit so that way maybe you can hear me. I doubt we're going to have anybody on either of these lists because our team achieves its excellence. I wouldn't really say it's excellent. We finished like 5 games over 500 last year, but we succeed due to our balance. Not really a very top-heavy team, although it's a little surprising that Ricardo Cantu isn't on here, actually, now that I think about it, but we'll go look at the National League really quick. I'll show you since I was on the AL for so long. That's just what the NL looks like. And Dodgers, of course, have 3 of the top 10 pitchers. Why wouldn't they? It's not even projected to be. Yeah, I think I said last episode. I don't remember if I said it or not, but they signed Jose Fernandez. So, like, their best pitcher isn't even Clayton Kershaw anymore. It's just ridiculous. Like, their team is so stacked. They also have 2 of the top 10 projected hitters this season. Scott Schebler is projected to be the best hitter, which is strange. Oh, apparently he's really good. Scott Schebler is apparently like the best player in the league. He's had 2 really good hitting seasons. Doesn't look like the defense is all there, but anyway, let's do the rest of these really quick. I believe it's, I don't remember where it is. Is it league info? League reports home. Yeah, there we go. So we just did the preseason predictions. I think we got to do top prospects and top minor league systems. We'll do top minor league systems first. We have the top prospect or top farm system. Yeah, top farm system according to this, which is crazy considering the fact that like we've had 2 drafts where we weren't 100% sure about a lot of the guys, but there they are. Lo and behold, top guys according to our scout. As this scout is much more keen on Devin Ortiz than the last one was, and that was kind of a controversial pick still, but hopefully he can start to really put some stuff together. He struggled in low A, is that A minus? Low A last year. You know, coming around a little bit. Hopefully he can pan out the way that the OSA says he can, but even if he pans out this way, he's still not a bad number 1 overall pick. Jared Joseph, our number 1 overall pick from the year after that, is actually working his way through the minors pretty quickly as he's already at Double-A. He is 22 years old, and if he gets better here soon, we're probably going to have to clear a spot for him at the major league level, which is fine because Candelario is going to get more expensive anyway. Jerry Aguilar, still haven't really decided where he's going to play yet. I'm not all that certain. Probably shortstop, honestly. I think I'm going to move him back to shortstop. Yeah, we'll move him back to shortstop really quick. I thought I did before anyway, but no, wait, I did want him to be. I did move him to first base intentionally because he has really good range, but nothing else. So I'll try it. I'll go through and make sure that that's all set up. He was really good in the rookie league for 2 years. apparently he was there. Well, he didn't play very much last year. He got promoted, but struggled in low A. So it'll be an interesting storyline to go watch going forward. And then our other guy on here is Donnie Everett, 3-star according to our head scout. The OSA really likes him though. He's a 3rd-round pick in 2018. Kind of struggled in the rookie league, 2-8. Not the greatest, but maybe he can turn things around. I'll just show you guys the rest of these really quick. Oh, David Correa is the other one. He was like our first big scouting discovery in this, and hopefully he can pan out the way the head scout. Well, that's the OSA. Never mind. Even the head scout's got a pretty good opinion of him. I wouldn't mind if he turned into that kind of player. He had a really good season last year. Only played in 29 games, but still pretty good. Why is he down in the rookie league though? We need to promote him. Let's promote to high A. Let's try high A. Sure. Well, I'll go through all that off screen, but a lot of these teams have pretty decent prospects, and like everybody has a top 100 prospect except for Cincinnati. So it's nice to see a little bit of balance. So, and then we'll take a look at just the top prospect list in general, since I know some people like to see that. So it's split up by batters and pitchers. Okay, so we have the second highest. We have the 2nd, 4th, and 5th hitting prospects and the top pitching prospect. So that's good. It's good to see. Sort of slow this down. You can just pause. And a lot of good pitching prospects. Looks like it's really balanced between pitching and hitting. Some older guys on here too. 25-year-olds. I see like 3 or 4 24-year-olds. Another 25-year-old here down at the bottom. I saw that Brady Aiken's on here too. He's 22. He's actually coming along pretty nicely. Had a decent season at Double A last year. It was only 20 innings, but still, he's been pretty good so far in his career. It's nice to see him bounce back after all the stuff that he's been through in his career. So, all right, I believe that's it for the preseason power rankings, or like the preseason prediction stuff that we usually go over. So I am going to handle some off-screen simulation stuff, and I will be back with the draft pool when that gets announced. So see you in a moment. Alright, it is time to start the first-year player draft. I sent through all the scouting, or the draft pool announcements and stuff like that. We're just going to get right into the draft. I don't think have a first-round pick. I don't remember who we signed that cost us our first-round pick, but I don't see us on this first-round list right here. So we'll just get into the draft. We'll start drafting whenever it is our turn to do so. And this is round 1. Oh, it is pick 22. Okay, I guess we did have a first round pick, and I'm just not very smart. So this is our scouting for our scouting director, I believe, at this point. He says that Eric Davis is the top guy. What does the OSA have? Still has a bunch of 5-star guys. What does our head scout think of a lot of these guys? Not very much. Not very highly. Ooh. Wait, I just want to see. 22. Oh, we're right there. Okay, we were at the bottom. I wasn't looking very clearly. That was my bad. What about not you? I don't want to draft a closer with my first round pick. Well, Eric Davis could be pretty good. It looks like he's only gonna have 2 pitches though. That's the problem. I think that's gonna. He also doesn't look like he's really gonna be a starter. Can't really hold runners. Extremely hard sign. Only 3.5, according to the OSA. I think we're better off just going with an OSA guy in this spot. That's another closer. Showing all players, right? No, we're just showing all pitchers. Okay, that might be part of the problem too. Yeah, okay. There's a bunch of 4.5-star guys here that aren't pitchers. Brandon Bossier doesn't look like he's gonna be anything too special. Josh Carr, pretty good first base prospect right here. Good all around. For OSA really likes him as well. We could probably get him. Josh Carr. Shortstop Sim Corcoran. I'm not really a big fan of his ratings. And Zach Prasnier. I think we're going to go with the first baseman. This guy's a pretty good defensive player, but we'll go with Josh Carr, I believe. Unless, what's this impossible, guys? He does not make contact at all. He also has a crappy eye. We're not going to be able to sign him either. Josh Carr is a very easy sign. I think this is the right move. Alright, let's draft Josh Carr then. And we'll move on to our next pick. I was like fairly certain that we hadn't signed any free agent that was going to cost us a pick. That was why I was kind of thrown off at first. Let's look at some of these 4-star guys. Evan Higgins. We'll start with C.J. Brown. Nothing really there. Keep going on the list. Evan Higgins, nothing special. Jordan Rose, pretty decent contact. Defensive versatility, definitely. Jerry Denny. Matt Friedland. Paul Sheeler. Let's go back to the list of prospects. It really falls off. Go OSA. What is this guy? David Icone. Just a lot of home run power. Pretty balanced actually, but not the greatest at the same time. Michael Morrison. I really like his ratings. Pretty good control. Changeup very underdeveloped though. That's the thing, is that this guy's got pretty decent. He could have 3 good pitches, but this is really anticipating a lot of growth from his changeup that I'm not gonna bank on. What about Andrew Schrock? Wow, I've never seen a contact rating potential that low. You're an impossible sign, not even worth looking at. Jason Turner. Again, only a 35 contact potential. I really don't like that. What about Bobby Armstrong? 200 developed pitches. Not the greatest control or movement potential to really justify it. Also, it would be an extremely hard sign. Tristan Cassis, what is he about? Pretty good fastball projection, but again, very underdeveloped. Also extremely hard sign. Jerry Denny was a guy who, well, he's an extremely hard sign. He popped up on our head scout. What's the OSA think of him? Ooh, not good defensive potential. What about Danny Dominguez? Nope, only has 3 pitches. Not great. Alright, what's the scouting director's recommendation? So the scouting director recommends that we draft Eric Davis. I'm kind of concerned about drafting Eric Davis, though. He's only going to have 2 pitches, and I don't really like guys with 2 pitches. He's also projected to be a bullpen guy, and he's going to be an extremely hard sign. But we might be able to get him. I don't know. Doesn't seem like our scouting director really likes very many people left anyway. Alright, let's draft Eric Davis. Even if we have to offer him a lot of money. Should be able to do so anyway. And we'll go over the team and stuff later on. Alright, so Brad Kelly is the guy our scouting director recommends, and he's not very good. So let's see if the OSA has anybody left who's pretty good. I think we looked at Andrew Schrock already, and he had a really bad contact potential. Yes, we sure did. Bobby Armstrong. I think we should probably draft him. Maybe not. Maybe better pitchers out there. Danny Dominguez. He'll have 3 pretty good pitches if he develops into what he is. And he does have good movement too. Alright, let's draft Danny Dominguez. Well, actually, we can take a look at some of these other guys too. This is going to be an impossible sign. But he's not bad. Hawkins. He's actually already pretty good. Only 18 years old. Left-hander. Very hard sign, though. Hensler. Pretty decent, not anything special. Evan Holland. Are you any good? Good defensive player. Not really a great hitter, though. We'll look at some of these
4.5-star guys still. Actually, probably be an easier way to do this if we did it by this. Oh wait, that doesn't show their overall. Yeah, it does. Okay. Jay Taylor looks pretty good. Not great contact potential though. I think he was the impossible guy. Yeah. Good home run power, but not really a whole lot else. Matt Mitchell. Ooh. Fragile. But he's apparently a college player. Extremely hard sign too. I really like Matt Mitchell's stuff though. He could be really good. And he's got a 70 control potential. I think we should draft Matt Mitchell. Let's put him up down here. We'll draft him right there. Take a flyer on him despite his injury history. So Kevin Ryan. Look at some more guys who are still here. He's only gonna be a 2-pitch player. This guy, I think we already. He was an impossible sign. He's a really good hitter. Other than that, avoid K's. Doesn't really have great contact potential either. Mario Medina, what's he about? Ooh, this is a guy we should probably draft. 5 good potential pitches. Ooh, he's demanding a large bonus though. Not gonna touch that. Oh, Gabriel Garcia. Yeah, he's already 21 and he's not really gonna develop it anymore. Tony Luna. What's he like? Yeah, decent. Kevin Ryan, we already saw he's gonna be a 2-pitch player. Alright, let's take a look at what the scouting director recommends again. Osborne. No, we will not be drafting him this high. Let's look at pitching potential then. And we'll limit it to pitchers, obviously. Nothing really left in terms of what our scouting director likes. The OSA likes these top guys. Nothing really beyond that though. What about this Chris Kerrigan guy? Again, a 2-pitch player. Alright, I guess offense is really gonna be the way to go here unless this guy's any good. No, not really. Alright, I guess offense is the way to go. Why is it only showing high school players, so? That's what I want to know. Because this is like star high school player. Alright, whatever. Not pitchers, I want all batters. There we go. And to put it the other way would probably be more beneficial. Brown, Taylor, Garcia. Garcia's 21. Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't like his ratings on much. Tony Luna. I didn't mind him, but I don't think he's very good. Gary Cave, switch hitter. Play second base though. It's gonna be an issue. Also, an extremely hard sign. It's hard. Yeah, I'm not drafting anybody with a contact potential that low. No way. Did we look at Aaron Conway already? I don't mind him. Hard sign though. So let's grab the catcher, Aaron Conway. See if he can turn into something. Alright, we're moving on to the 5th round of the draft. All the 5-star hitters are gone. John Flowers we didn't look at last time around. Not the greatest. Pretty much what we have in Trace Thompson already. Andy Garvin. I like him, but I don't like that contact. Tim Lane. What are you about? Not bad. Oh, Lynch. All right, let's look at pitchers really quick. Hawkins, Ryan, Sanchez are still here. What's Sanchez? Ooh. He is just a bullpen guy. He's also an impossible. Never mind. And then this guy, it's not really any great ratings. Hawkins, he's just an extremely hard, but I don't really. You're really betting on potential there. Ryan, I think, was an impossible. No, he's an extremely hard as well. Oh, yeah, 2-pitch player. Also underdeveloped, 2 pitches. We'll do a couple more picks. If we can't really find anybody at this pick, probably though, we're gonna just sim the rest, and then work on signing our players. But I don't think this is really a good draft class in particular. We also didn't have a very high pick, so that might be part of it. But what about Andy Lynch? Extremely hard sign. That's kind of rough. Might just end up taking John Fudd while he's an impossible. This is crap. Alright, well, we're not even looking at the right scouting reports either. What about this guy? Julio Bayona. Nothing really working with there. This guy has a 80 gap potential. His eye sucks though. He'd be an easy sign. That's something to consider. What about this guy? Nick Fick. Alright, I really like those ratings. Extremely hard, unfortunately, though. It's not something I want to mess with. Well, Pat Hanna, also extremely hard. I might just end up going with Nick Fick. Got a really good eye. Extremely hard, though. It's not something I want to mess with. What about Randy Hassler? It looks like he's got some base running potential. And he's a normal sign. Let's go with Ricky Hassler. Could bring an element to our team we don't really currently have. We don't have a lot of speed / stealing on the base paths. And let's just sim the rest of this draft. We were kind of picking the bottom of the barrel with those 3.5 star guys. Maybe not the bottom of the barrel necessarily, but how did he win Rookie of the Year with that crappy of a stat line? I have to look this up. Walt Weiss. Let's see what his full stat line was his rookie year. And surprisingly enough, the sim actually beat my search. When did he win Rookie of the Year? 88. 633 OPS. 39 RBI. 113 hits. Who was he up against? Wow, this is a terrible class.
well, he had like the third highest WAR. I know that doesn't matter because it was the 80s, but third highest WAR among rookies, that is. All right, so team chemistry update. All right, fan voting update for the All-Star game. I think we have one guy in here. Oh, we have Candelario in second place, actually. Braxton Davis in third place in left field. Interesting. And we don't have anybody for that. We'll go over all these stats in a second. Just taking a look at some stuff really quick. Negotiations begin with draftees. So, let's see. Didn't really draft anybody very good after that, I guess. Alright, Josh Carr. So we have 14 million left. We only wanted 450K. Alright. Let's just meet demand on everybody. Well, actually, we're probably gonna need to go up. Probably about double on guys like this. I really should have thought ahead on that one. Let's go like 1 million. Instead of just meeting their demand. And then for these, well, we actually probably go up on this guy too. Let's like give him extra 100K. And then normal, we'll just meet Ricky Hassler's demands. Alright, Matt Murphy, anything we like about him, really? No. Not worth the effort on that one. And not with Santa Cruz either. And Xavier Camacho. No. Alright. So, we'll cover this, like, these stats really quick. And then we'll probably wrap this episode. Well, no, we'll go to the All-Star game, but I'll show you guys how this team is looking right now. I'll wrap up this and then I'll sim a little bit more. So, take a look at the standings. We are only 4 games over 500, but we are leading the division, and that, at the end of the day, is the only number that matters. And we are actually worse than the top 2 teams in both of the other divisions. So that's something to consider, and we really don't. Well, we'd be right inside the wild card race, actually. So I guess we're not the worst team, honestly. But 30 and 26 isn't really that great, and the Rangers are right behind us. It's not like it's a very, very wide lead or anything. We'll take a look at the pitching. We'll first take a look at the injuries, because I think we still have a couple guys injured. Shashi Iwakuma is out for 5 more weeks. He only pitched in, I think, he pitched 4 games to start the season. Kind of a rough first start. Well, actually, that's not even that bad. But actually, he was pretty good this year. He was pretty good in the short time that he played. 7.6 Ks per 9, 1.7 walks, .69 whip. It's pretty good. Pretty decent stats for Shashi Iwakuma. He's out for quite a while. I believe Jorge Lopez has come up in his place, and he hasn't really pitched the greatest. Not at all. I should actually swap him out for somebody else. Send him down to AAA. And then we'll bring somebody else up from AAA. And what's this guy about? 1.16 whip. Wow, he's actually pretty good. Let's bring him up. I don't know how we got this guy. Well, it looks like we signed him to a minor league contract, but Tim Farmakis. Who would ever guessed? Let's try him out. 23 years old, right-hander. Jumped from... Actually, this is his first year as a starter, it looks like. 8 games in AAA, 2.92 ERA, 1.16 whip. We'll see if any of that can translate into Major League success. He's got a couple days before he starts, so he should recover pretty easily. But Walker, Bauer have been playing pretty well. Doesn't look like their FIPs are the greatest. Actually, Talon Walker's not really performing up to his FIP because he has a 3.48 BABIP on the season, but I think none of that's really his fault. He has a 5.9 strikeout to walk ratio, so, and he's been by far our best pitcher if you take a look at WAR.
Where'd he go? Did this glitch out again? Because I was doing this earlier and it glitched out. Alright, there we go. Yeah, okay, so 1.9 WAR. Aroldis Chapman's actually been second. He's not even a starter. Bauer, Giolito have been decent, not great. Giolito's really just rough defense, I guess, for our team. I don't know what it is. We got a bunch of good defensive players. I might have to take a look into that, but Taiwan Walker, Bauer, been pretty satisfied with these three. Yu Darvish has been terrible this year. 5.12 FIP, and walking almost everybody. It looks like. Well, I guess not really a lot of people having luck with the walks this year. Rondon has been awful. Hector Rondon has been awful. He's been outperforming his FIP considerably though, so I guess there's value in that. Kevin Zegers is having another solid season. I guess last couple of years he's kind of struggled, but we were gonna shuffle around the bullpen a little bit, but then Chase and Shreve really turned things around. He started the season terrible, but he's really turned things around now. He has a 2.25 ERA and a 200 ERA plus, and he's working his way toward a pretty big contract extension, as this will be the last year of arbitration for him. Aroldis Chapman, not the greatest FIP, but greatest ERA, but really good FIP. We'll take a look at that again. Yeah, he has 242 FIP. Roberto Ozuna with 309 FIP. So our bullpen's been really good. At least these three guys have been really good. Bearclaw has been respectable, I suppose. He's actually been pretty good. 362 FIP's not bad. 3 ERA, 10.5 strikeouts per 9. Segrist actually not having the greatest season. Giolito and Bauer, only 11 games into the season, and Bauer's actually been playing pretty well according to this game. He's on a hot streak, and I think part of that might be our defense too. Giolito's at least showing improvement over the half season we had him last year. He's got 4.5 star potential, or overall, not even just potential, which I can't figure out what the problem is. He's not getting strikeouts like he should be, I don't feel. But yeah, Yu Darvish has been terrible this year. We'll see. We're gonna put him on the trading block because he's been so bad, and we'll set him available. Actually, we'll set him to on block. And if we can't get rid of him, we'll just hold on to him and hope that he can turn things around. Hopefully we can get like another good starter for him. Or if this Farmakis guy plays well, he's probably gonna. Yu Darvish is probably gonna be the one who gets sent down in his place. Cole Hamels, how's he been? 449 FIP, not the greatest. Honestly, I expected him to be a little bit better, but at the same time, we have options if he does not pick up his performance. All right, let's take a look at the lineups. Jung Ho Kong, not been playing a lot, but in 76 plate appearances, he has a 1053 OPS, so that's pretty good. Our second leading OPS haver on the team, I guess you could say, is Eudor Garcia, our Rule 5 draft pick, and he's been excellent this year. 133 OPS plus, 840 OPS, 349 OBP, 7 home runs. Yammer Candelario had a really good start to the year. He's been a little bit slow as he's come back from the little bit down. He's only got a 333 OBP, but he's hitting the cover off the ball. 208 isolated power, 831 OPS, 129 OPS plus. Braxton Davidson, not making a lot of contact, but he's getting on base, and he's got a pretty decent slugging percentage. So that's always nice. I think Candelario is actually leading our team in wins, too. Yeah, 1.7 wins above replacement. I don't think Eudor Garcia has been the greatest defender by fielding sets. He's been above average, but he is definitely not getting his worth because of that. Luis Guillorme has not been the greatest hitter. He's in a decent 324 OBP, but he's going to be a 2 to 3 win player just based on these shortstop defensive statistics, which are just nuts. He has not committed an error all year in 371 innings. He has a 458 range factor and a +4 zone rating. So, definitely happy with that move. Albert Almora has been kind of the same thing, although a little bit worse. He has not been getting on base at all, but he's been slugging pretty decently, I would say. Doesn't have the greatest eye, so it was obviously kind of expected. His fielding stats are really good as well. He's only committed 2 errors in 405 innings. 3 range factor, +2 zone rating. So, pretty good. Anybody else who we should probably go over? Jung Ho Kong. Braxton Davidson, probably not playing the greatest defense, but Yeah, that's kind of expected. Why is he playing so much right field is my question. His left field stats haven't been very good either, but they've been significantly better than right field. And he's just really in the lineup for his bat anyway. So Albert Almora, we said already. Trace Thompson, below average performance. Definitely expected a little bit more out of him this season, but we'll see how things continue to develop. Chase Vallot got the starting job over Rene Rivera because Rene Rivera was so terrible to start the year. He has he's up to a 692 OPS. We're going to flip these guys again. And we'll keep Vallot starting every fourth game, but not been happy with that catching position. I thought Vallot was in line for a pretty decent year considering that he had a 759 OPS last year. I thought he would take a little bit of a step forward this year, honestly, but hasn't happened quite yet. We'll see if it does. And Wilmer Flores has just struggled this year. 732 OPS. Definitely going to not be as good of a hitter this year and when things are said and done as he was last year. And I should have kind of expected it because his ratings aren't the greatest. But even for $6 million to have a guy who's worth a couple wins is still a pretty good bargain. So if we have to replace him at DH, we definitely can down the road. But for now, it's... Although definitely not the greatest, he's still an above average hitter, 103 OPS plus, which is park adjusted. So, and we're currently sitting. And another thing I should mention, we had Matt Reynolds in the lineup for the longest time because Ricardo Cantu has only played 15 games this season. He just came back from injury recently, and hasn't been the greatest coming back from injury. And his ratings have fallen off for some reason. I'm not entirely certain why, but we'll see if he can turn it around for the rest of the season. He had an amazing season last season. He was worth 6 wins. So we'll see if he can turn things around this year, even though he's probably going to play like 135 games if he doesn't get hurt again. So we'll see how that works out. Anyway, I'm going to cut out and send to the All-Star break, and then we'll see where the team is then and see if we have to make any trades. So see you in just a moment. Alright, just a quick update. We are in the middle of simulating toward the All-Star break in the international free agent period of this, and then eventually the trade deadline. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of an episode. We might move some of that stuff into the next episode, though. We are making a quick roster move. So, as I think I might have shown, I don't think I actually showed, but Hisashi Iwakuma is out with a strained forearm. Actually, I don't. Yeah, I did. I think I did show this because he got hurt before the draft, but he's been out with a strained forearm. He only made 4 starts this season. And we've had Tim Farmakis pitching in his place. This is actually only a couple weeks after the draft, and we're still negotiating with a couple draftees anyway. But Tim Farmakis has come up in his place, and his 2 starts in the majors have been terrible. He's lasted 8 2/3 innings and given up 8 runs, 8 earned runs, 3 home runs, 8 walks, 8 strikeouts. So not very good. I honestly thought he'd be pretty good. He has decent stuff, but not ready for the majors, clearly. So we're going to be sending him down to AAA. And we're going to be moving Cole Hamels into the rotation for the time being. He hasn't started a game yet this season, but that's you, Darvish. He's been playing terrible, too. But that's a different story for a different day. Cole Hamels been pretty solid as a reliever, and he had a long relief appearance here where he went 4 innings and only gave up 1 run. He had another one here where he went 3 2/3 and only allowed 1 base runner. So, pretty decent signs out of him, although the strikeout rate isn't quite where I would like it to be in those long relief outings. I think he can be a pretty decent starter for a few games until Hisashi Iwakuma is ready to come off of the DL. And we've had a pretty solid year out of the bullpen anyway. And Cole Hamels, as you can see right here, is putting up decent numbers. Not the greatest, but our whole pitching staff has been pretty good performance-wise for a short period of time now, and moving Cole Hamels was probably our weakest reliever other than Hector Rondon out of the rotation. We'll actually move him to use less often, even though he's had a pretty good ERA. His FIP has been terrible this year for Hector Rondon. He's not a great K rate and a pretty okay walk rate, not the worst, but also not very good considering that he's only striking out 6 batters every 9 innings. So we have a spot in the bullpen, obviously, and that is going to go to a man we just claimed off of waivers, Mike Hochschild from the Kansas City Royals. And not an impressive career up to this point, but
I'm going to use the Hisashi Iwakuma injury period to decide if this is a guy who can eventually replace that Hector Rondon spot in the bullpen. Now, over his career, hasn't really been the greatest performer, but this season, in 25 innings pitched, he had a 2.88 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP. He actually only had 10 strikeouts, which is not a statistic that I saw, but we'll see if he can at least perform better than Hector Rondon has. Again, not a guy that I expect to... we have too many people on the 40-man. Let's see who can be removed. Who's just the oldest guy on here who's not in the majors? Martin Prado. How's he been playing in the minors? Not the greatest, but he's a guy that I'd like to keep around, at least for depth purposes. And there's that pitcher we signed this last offseason, who actually might be another guy who we can potentially bring up if he performs better. He's actually not having that bad of a season in the minors, allowing few too many hits, but we'll see if things improve as the season goes on. Heath Hembry. Ishikawa is a guy I believe has played for us in the past and been not very good. Yeah, alright, let's just let me remove from... I don't remember how to do this, so let's wave and DFA him. I don't remember if waving or DFAing is the right one to take you off 40-man. But with that, we can put Ishikawa on. Wait, that wasn't what I wanted to do. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Alright, let's retry that. My bad on that one. Hochschild was the guy we actually wanted to put on the major league team, and we will be putting him in a middle relief situation. So, yeah. I'm going to get back to simming. I will see you guys in just a moment and hopefully have more news for you. Alright, so we are here at the All-Star break, and we got a few more things to cover before we finish up this video. This is going to be the first of those things. Then we're going to do some trade deadline stuff, and we got to cover mid-season stats. I'll do that right in between. I have all of the trades that we're going to make already mapped out, so that should be a pretty quick process. We can finish this up pretty quickly, but here are the American League All-Stars. We got Dylan Bundy, Elnieri Garcia from Minnesota, Corey Kluber, Martin Perez, Carlos Rodon, Aaron Sanchez, and Steven Strasburg as the starting pitchers. Relievers, Boone Logan, Roberto Osuna, AJ Ramos, and Chasen Shreve. 2 of the 4 that were elected are on our team, so that's very nice to see. And it looks like Shreve's actually had a really good year. Salvador Perez, Blake Swihart, who's having an amazing season. Look at that, slashing 365, 436, and 656. I'm actually gonna. Oh, my glasses are right here. I don't have my glasses on reading this. I usually don't need my glasses to play this game, but it's a lot of small text for these numbers. So he's worth 5 wins already this season. Mike Zunino, Adam Brinkman on Toronto, having a pretty down year by his standards, but still pretty incredible. Ji-Man Choi, Rougenet Odor, Manny Machado, Miguel Sano, Francisco Lindor, Mike Trout, Carlos Vidal, Narihide Kawano, that's what the name looks like, having a pretty decent season. Alex Jackson, Nomar Mazara, and Trace Thompson somehow makes it for us. He's actually 800 OPS, which I believe I showed his stats earlier. He was kind of struggling to start out the season. But anyway, the NL, and only 3 of the Dodgers starters are on there. That's a surprise. I was surprised it's not the whole Dodgers starting rotation as the starting pitchers, but you got Rafael DePaula from San Diego, and I actually was considering trading for this guy, but I didn't know he was a starter, so it actually might be a guy that we look into anyway. No, I remember why I didn't want this guy, because this is his first season of full-time starting, and I wasn't willing to trade for something like that. Jose Fernandez, Pierce Johnson, Clayton Kershaw, Marco Sepulveda, Noah Syndergaard, Zach Britton, Jacob Lindgren, Mike Dunn, Trevor Rosenthal, Will Smith, and then catchers, Nick Sufo, Tom Murphy, Buster Posey, Cody Bellinger, Jace Boyd, Richard Urena, which looks really sad. That was our only mistake we've made really so far in the series, was letting him go. Still turned into a very good player. He's going to be like a 6-win player this year. He was almost a 6-win player last year. Very sad for us. But we've moved on and done pretty well without him still. Chris Bryant, Chris Bostic, Addison Russell, Corey Seager, Bryce Harper, Gregory Polanco, Scott Schebler, Jorge Soler, and Giancarlo Stanton. And before I cut out to do the various trades that we have to do, let's look at our own personal stats this season. So Taijuan Walker having a pretty good year. Trevor Bauer having a pretty decent year. I wouldn't say it's great by any stretch, but for what he's been is not too bad. Yu Darvish is starting to turn into being not terrible. Surprisingly okay. Cole Hamels has not been the greatest starter in the world. And Lucas Giolito, I think, has turned things around pretty well. Not the greatest year out of him still, but definitely showing signs of improvement. And I really don't know what it is with him at this point. He has great ratings, but just can't seem to put it all together. Maybe another year or two, and he can figure stuff out. Cole Hamels has not been a great start. Well, actually, he was on a pretty decent run. Oh wait, he's only played one game since. All right, we've only started 2 games, but they haven't been very good. So, not the greatest signs so far. Bullpen wise, we'll just take a look really quick at our FIPS, and Hector Rondon has continued to suck. Yu Darvish, Cole Hamels, Giolito. A lot of these guys at the top of our starters. All of our bullpen guys have, other than Hector Rondon, have a FIP below 4, so that's nice. Kevin Seagrass, 3.75 is our worst. Roberto Osuna, 3.65, but he has a 2.02 ERA. Hochschild has a 3.64 FIP. I want to see what that is for our team specifically, though. Actually, he had quite a few walks. He only pitched 5 innings for our team, but he has a WHIP of 2. I'm going to give that time. He's not going to be on our team for the longest time anyway. We're going to be trading for a couple bullpen pieces in this episode. Plus, Cole Hamels is likely going to be moving back to the bullpen very shortly anyway. Kyle Bearcloth, 3.47 FIP and a 2.88 ERA. Very nice year out of him, and a 10.6 Ks per 9 ratio. Taijuan Walker with a 118. Well, we already talked about him. He's having a really good year. Aroldis Chapman with a 290 FIP, a 135 WHIP, which is weird. Must be all those. Yeah, it's all those walks. And a 3.18 ERA. Again, not the greatest ERA, but he's been our probably 3rd or 4th best reliever this year. Well, actually, it looks like he's really been our 2nd best reliever, because it looks like Roberto Osuna is getting a lot of luck to go his way. Maybe it's also a lower walk rate, so I would say he's right there with Osuna and Shreve. Well, maybe not with Shreve, but Shreve has been indisputably our best reliever this year. He has a 2.14 ERA, but he has a 192 FIP, 12 Ks per 9, and 1.6 walks per 9, which is incredible. 0.5 home runs per 9, also incredible. 0.92 WHIP, and this is a guy we're going to definitely have to lock down to an extension. He was actually a pick originally in the very first round, maybe not the very first round, but the expansion draft at the very start of this franchise, and he's been very, very good for us. Was a 2-win pitcher last year, and looks like he's going to do just the same this year. So actually, he's going to play in fewer games, it looks like. So his performance is actually considerably better, considering he's not going to play as much. And how many saves does he have on the year? I probably should have checked that before. He has 16. So we must have, I think it's because we're blowing a lot of teams out. And the reason that we're blowing a lot of teams out is something I'm about to show you. We are in the worst division in baseball this year. The bottom, well, the Rangers decided to be a little bit less crappy, but when I last checked the standings, the bottom 5 teams in the AL were all AL West teams, and we were the only team that was even within a sniff of playoff contention. Although the Rangers are definitely within grasp, I would say the A's and Astros are too, even though the Astros are 7 games out. This is a pretty decently tight playoff race, and it's even tighter in the NL. You guys can take a look really quick over here, as there are 10 teams within reasonable shot to make the wild card. Maybe not so much now, but a lot of teams here very close together and bunched up in the NL. And the same could be said in the AL too. Not a lot of standout teams outside of the division leaders, and even then, the Red Sox and Orioles and Yankees are only 5 or 5.5 out of the Rays. So we're gonna be making a couple trades though to end off this episode, and then we'll cover. If I do anything with international free agency, I will tack that on either to the end of this episode or the beginning of the next episode. But we will cover all that at some point. If we do spend, if we don't spend, I'll just say, hey, we didn't spend any money in international free agency as a side note. But let's make these trades. Let's slot everybody into our lineup and everything, and then we will head on out. So I will be right back. Alright, so the first trade that we will be making is going to be with the St. Louis Cardinals. We are going to be giving up Jorge or George, whatever you want to call him, Lopez. He was given a chance to start in Hisashi Iwakuma's absence earlier this season, and yet again he proved that he is not very good. Ever since we acquired him from Montreal, he hasn't been very good. He was a pretty decent pitcher when we acquired him, and ever since then just hasn't really done anything. We did give him a pretty fair shot. We gave him 14 starts and a few more bullpen appearances, and he was not able to prove anything in those appearances. And so we will be trading him to the St. Louis Cardinals for Carson Kelly, the catcher, because they have a kind of a logjam at catcher. They had Carson Kelly start last year, and he was a 4-win player in 126 games, 467 plate appearances, and he was a pretty good defensive catcher as well. At least he wasn't terrible, was what I gathered from this. Yeah, he was actually pretty good last year in 2018. They've been playing him out of position a little bit this year, and he struggled to catcher because of that. But he was a pretty solid defensive catcher. Catcher's ERA of 3.68, plus 1.5 zone rating, a 1.129 efficiency, a 8.61 range factor, and he only committed 3 errors in 993 innings. So very, very good defensive player. And we just haven't gotten a lot of production out of catcher so far, and this is a pretty low cost, pretty good reward move, because even if he plays at this sort of level this year of this 728 OPS, .3 wins above replacement, because he's only played 71 plate appearances, this is a guy with green ratings in pretty much every hitting category, and he's a good defensive player. So definitely a trade that we are going to be making, as it's an upgrade over our current catching situation, and also because our catching situation is going to be affected in a trade that we are about to make. But first, we have a couple of other trades to cover before we get to that one, and this is going to be with the Detroit Tigers. We're going to be trading Willie Adams, who will be returning to Detroit after being part of the David Price trade like 4 years ago now by this point. Actually, I think it was like 2014, I can't remember. It was 2013 or 2014. It's 2019 in this league, and yeah, I know it was 2014 because David Price got traded in 2015 to the Blue Jays, and he'd only played a year with Detroit, so it was 2014, which would be 5 years ago by this point in this save. It's not that long ago in real life, though. So Willie Adams will be returning to Detroit. Along with him will be last season's off-season signee Hyung-Ro Kim, and really this was just a throw-in to make this trade work. I don't really have a necessity to get rid of him. I don't think he's been very good in the minor leagues, but at the same time, he was just an option. It wasn't like we were paying him a lot of money. We signed him for like the minimum. And in exchange, we'll be acquiring Evan Scribner, the right-hander with an expiring contract, is not going to be on the books past this season. And what I liked about him was that he had a couple of solid seasons in a row, and then a couple of years before that, well, actually these two were the same year, but a couple of years before that where his ERA plus was pretty average still, and it's still an upgrade over what Hector Rondon has brought to the table this year. And if you take a look right here, his total overall ERA plus ended up being 113 last year, and he's on pace to do better than that this year. Only a 1 whip. He's only walked 4 people in 29 innings, and to improve our middle relief situation, this is a guy I definitely think is going to help us out, give us a deeper bullpen. And if you actually take a look at his FIP this year, it's been 289. And last couple years with Montreal, it was still really good. This guy's just been a good pitcher ever since 2016, and even before then, he had a few good years with Oakland. So I think this is a solid move, and we're not going to be done addressing the bullpen after we complete this trade. We have one more trade that we are going to make for a reliever, and that is with the Colorado Rockies for Miguel Castro, the former Blue Jay, big part of the Troy Tulowitzki trade a few years ago, and a pretty unproven commodity at this point, but he's played relatively well this season. A 140 whip, a 10 Ks per 9, a 136 ERA plus, and if we take a look at his FIP this season so far, he has been at 346, definitely above average. He was at 242 last year, and 286 the year before that. Didn't play very much the year before that, but still. Didn't play very much last year. He played quite a bit in this season before that. But been an above-average reliever, very young with a lot of room to grow, and he's not going to be a very important part of our team this year, I don't think. But going forward, to have this guy in the lower areas, like the middle relief area of our bullpen, he might get a little expensive, but I'm willing to take that risk. I actually don't. Will it say what is? Oh, yeah, his arbitration estimate's like 3.6 mil. I think that's a solid price for him if we cannot retain like Evan Scribner in the offseason, and just to strengthen our bullpen overall. Even when Hisashi Iwakuma comes back, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with Cole Hamels in that last bullpen spot. I would like to have a solid bullpen all around, because if our starters cannot make it through the season, or if one of our starters struggles and we can't have like a good playoff rotation, relying on a very deep bullpen is going to be a necessity. So we are going to complete that trade. And now for the final trade that we are going to be making this season. And this is definitely not the most interesting trade of this trade deadline. I think that the other three trades were probably much more interesting, but this trade is the most intriguing, I would say, because we will be acquiring Chris Archer in this deal. Now, Chris Archer is definitely past his prime at this point in his career, and he's struggled a little bit as of late. He has not had a very good month of June. Other than the last start, he was pretty good. But he is a guy who throughout his career has proven that he can be a very, very good pitcher, and he is definitely above average, which is all we're asking of out of that other pitching spot. We have had a hole in our rotation all year at that third starter spot, where Hisashi Iwakuma was slotted to play but has been hurt, and Chris Archer is also on what is an expiring deal, because the next season will be a team option, and we are absolutely going to be declining that, because even if he plays well for us, he's not going to play to a level that is worth $9 million, I don't think. And he's coming off of a couple rough seasons for a Tampa Bay team that has been very good. Now, that's been a different case this year, because they are leading the AL East. And if we go to, where is it? Somewhere on here. History, team history. Their team has not been the greatest team in recent seasons. They were below 500 team in 2016. They missed the playoffs in 2017, even though they won 88 games. And they were a below 500 team last year. Now, obviously, they're a good team this year. You might be thinking, why would they want to trade Chris Archer? And like I said, it's because of that expiring contract. They're either going to have to pay him $9 million next year, or decline that and let him walk away for nothing when he's been a pretty mediocre pitcher for them. And even though they are currently a contending team, they can get a lot of value out of trading him now. These top two things that they're acquiring are not, maybe not the key pieces of this trade. Yu Darvish has been terrible this year, even worse than Chris Archer. And also, he doesn't have an expiring contract after the season. He has another year that you're going to have to pay him before that team option does come into effect. And Hector Rondon is an expiring deal, not really the key piece of this trade, although you could potentially flip him for something. He has struggled this season immensely. Maybe not immensely, but he's definitely been a disappointment for the Vancouver team that he's been on. The key piece to this trade is going to be Chase Vallot, who was maybe rushed into the majors a little bit too early, but he's been playing pretty well as of late. But my concern with Chase Vallot, and why I'm willing to give him up in this trade, is that he's never going to be a consistently great player. Now, if he goes to Tampa Bay, he might be given an opportunity to do so. You never know. He's definitely made strides in this season, I would say. But I like the ceiling of Carson Kelly a little bit more. Maybe not the ceiling. I like the floor of Carson Kelly a little bit more. Now, if you take a look at Chase Vallot's fielding stats, he's been pretty decent this year. He hasn't had the greatest catcher's ERA, but he's had a pretty decent defensive season. But last season, he was horrendous defensively. He was not a good defensive catcher at all. He was especially terrible at calling games, a 5.33 catcher's ERA. He's been a good hitter, but an inconsistent one. Prior to this game, he played against Kansas City right before the All-Star break, where he hit 2 home runs and a double as well, raising his OPS by 80 points. He was not a very solid hitter this year. He's actually really been below average. So these numbers are a little bit misleading, I would say. but he's definitely somebody who has untapped potential. But for a contending team like Vancouver, I feel that we need a definite sure thing at catcher, and getting a better pitcher with this prospect, Chase Vallot, who, again, other than this last game, if you take that out of the equation, hasn't been a great hitter. He's been a below average one. Even then, he was a average hitter last season in 218 plate appearances. He's about to cross that and slightly improve his numbers this year, although not by very much. And actually, his slugging percentage is a little bit worse. But this is the kind of guy who I think we're actually already better at with the acquisition of Carson Kelly. We're better at the position of catcher, and I think that Carson Kelly is a better bet going forward. And having a guy like Chris Archer, who is a veteran, as says Archer puts in long hours, and even though he has had his struggles as of late, is a solid, dependable pitcher to slot into a key spot in our rotation, as we just have not gotten great performances out of the 3 and 4 spots so far this season. I think this is a trade worth making, even if it costs somebody who might turn into a really good player one day. I'm willing to make this trade, and so we are going to make it. And I feel like I had to do the most explaining for that one, because that's probably going to be the most controversial trade. But we're going to slot all of these guys into our roster right now and see where everybody is going to fit. So let's we're going to actually need to send somebody down, and that's going to be Mike Hochschild, who we're going to demote to AAA, and we're actually going to have to waive him. But as I showed before, he'd only played a couple games for us, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he only pitched 5 innings, and while he wasn't the worst, he also wasn't the greatest. So he actually allowed a couple runs, I think, too. Yeah, he allowed 2 earned runs. So nothing special. Again, he was just a waiver claim, so I wasn't expecting the most out of him anyway. And our bullpen does get a little right-handed heavy now, actually, I'm pretty sure, because we took a lefty out with Cole Hamels, and we're going to be adding 2 right-handers. So will Chris Archer be ready to go in 2 days, though? That's the question. Well, actually, we're on the All-Star break anyway, so we can actually reconfigure our rotation while we have the opportunity. Let's put Chris Archer. Should we put Chris Archer second? Or, well, another thing I should probably mention too is that Chris Archer does have a 4.21 FIP, and has definitely not had the greatest season of his career. If we take a look at expanded pitching stats too, he had a rough season last season, but outside of this season, and I definitely think he can turn things around. And this season, he's just had a month or two of struggles. Like, he's been below 4 for several years, other than his rookie season. I actually thought he was better his rookie season. Was he? Well, he just outperformed his FIP. Alright, that was me going off on a side tangent. But anyway, we will get out of there. He's going to be our 3rd starter. He should be good to go by the time that this All-Star break is over. We have 3 days of rest. I did this at the very beginning of the All-Star break anyway, so we need to call up our other guys. Carson Kelly, place on active roster. We actually traded away a lot of guys on our 40-man as well, so that's going to be good, because now we have a lot of 40-man spots in case we want to bring up some guys later on in the season. So let's make Miguel Castro and Evan Scribner middle relievers, and that adds to our bullpen. We're now 7 deep in the bullpen. We have 7 really good relievers, so going to be a very good bullpen going forward, I feel. And even if we need to take Aroldis Chapman out, we can even take him out now for Evan Scribner. And I'm feeling really confident in our rotation too. Hopefully these guys can have a strong second half, and maybe even Cole Hamels can perform admirably. It's going to be tough to find him a spot on this team if Hisashi Iwakuma comes back, because I think all of our other pitchers have been playing really well. I wouldn't want to send Lucas Giolito down, because Lucas Giolito has actually been playing pretty well recently. Pretty well. Good start there. Good start there. Good start there. Maybe not in terms of... Well, actually, only 1 strikeout. That's ridiculous. Alright, but I'm getting off on ranting now. We're going to put in Carson Kelly. We're going to make him our catcher. And where should we put Carson Kelly in the lineup? That's an interesting question. It's hard to tell what kind of hitter he is, just based on these stats. We should probably
probably leave him in that 9th spot. I don't see why we would move. Well, let's flip him in. No, he's a right-hander. We'll put Guillorme up here because he gets on base a little bit more, even though he's not, maybe not the greatest at doing so. That is a skill that he has. So, actually, yeah, we'll leave him in there for the balance. One of the things about, we have such a right-handed heavy team, which is kind of scary, but we'll take Rene Rivera out of that every 3rd game spot. I was doing that because of Chase Valet. I was trying to keep the defense of Rene Rivera in there because Rene Rivera is still an amazing defensive catcher at this point, and Carson Kelly is a pretty good one. Chase Valet was not a great one by the measures that we had him at. So, and Carson Kelly is actually going to be cheaper this year too, because I believe Chase Valet was going to be ARB eligible, and because he was a Rule 5 draft pick, and Carson Kelly is more than likely not going to be. But if he is, then it doesn't matter. But let's copy lineup, copy depth chart. And we moved a couple things around because Ricardo Cantu came back from injury and he wasn't playing the greatest. And Braxton Davidson has been our best hitter this season, I believe. Although he actually hasn't been playing the greatest since we made that switch. So I might actually change it back. Yeah, let's change it back. We'll just copy and paste this lineup really quick. Well, actually, what I'm going to do... Wilmer Flores has been playing. Wilmer Flores has definitely been struggling this season. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't want to put Wilmer Flores that high. Maybe we can put Trace Thompson up there. What's Trace Thompson been doing in terms of on base? 322. And definitely been worth that trade, I feel. Great performance. We're gonna get 4 wins for $3 million this year. That's a bargain. And he's been playing probably incredible defense, I imagine. Let's flip. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do. This is a tough one because I wanted to leave Candelario in a spot where we could alternate righty-lefty. And I don't think that Eudor Garcia has been playing the greatest recently, although he's been pretty good actually. 362 BABIP. So let's put Trace Thompson in the 4 slot, and we'll leave Davidson in at number 2. Ackley, why has Ackley been our number 2 guy? I think this looks pretty good, actually. I don't know. Do I want to flip Candelario and Trace Thompson though? That's a $1 million question here. We'll do this. I like the way this looks. All right. I finally decided. That's what I want to do. I might move around Carson Kelly if he plays better too. But that's going to be our team the rest of the season, unless something catastrophic happens between now and the actual trade deadline. That is going to be our lineup the rest of the way. And I'm really confident in our team's chances. Hopefully we can hold on in the second half, secure a playoff spot, and make a great playoff run. I'm making another episode probably between now and the release of OOTP 18, but that will just be to wrap up the season so that the first episode of OOTP 18 can be our playoff run with this team. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more Vancouver Canadians expansion franchise in OOTP.